And the big story tonight, of course, the southern state of Karnataka voted. Voters from 222 constituencies exercised their franchise. 2 seats will vote later this month. The halfway mark is 113. The results will be out on the 15th of May. In 3 days from now. Tonight, we're telling you what the pollsters have predicted, and they can't seem to decide on one party or trend. 2 of the exit polls predicting a hung assembly with no party managing to gain a clear majority. One of them predicting a clear winner, which is the incumbent Congress party. But before we bring you the breakdown, this is what the big picture looks like. It looks like Karnataka will have a hung assembly. And let me repeat, these are just exit poll results, not the final ones. This is what the numbers say. We're starting with the Times Now VMR exit poll result. 80 to 93 for the BJP, 90 to 103, so the highest, but not the halfway mark for the Congress party, 31 to 39 for the JDS, clearly the kingmaker, 2 to 4 for the others. This is what the Times Now VMR poll is predicting. This is the India Today Axis result, 79 to 92, further down for the BJP, 106 to 118, giving a clear majority to the Congress party, crossing the halfway mark there, 22 to 30 for the JDS, 1 to 4 for others. So this one is giving the Congress a thumbs up. ABP voter, 97 to 109 for the BJP, 87 to 99. So the Congress's tally comes down in this one, 21 to 30 for the JDS. This is the ABP voter result till 2 p.m. Today's Chanakya is giving the BJP very good numbers. 120 plus or minus 11 for the BJP. Amit Shah, remember, told WION in that exclusive interview that they will strike the 130 mark. That's what today's Chanakya is also talking about. 73 plus or minus 11 for the Congress party. 26 plus or minus 7 for the JDS. So this is the only one which is giving the BJP such good numbers. 120 plus. And what does the average, what does the mean say? It's giving the BJP the highest numbers, 99, far short of the halfway mark, but the biggest party, the Congress 94, the JDS 29 and others too. But remember, most of the polls have given a range of seats. And even one seat can make a difference in an election as tight as this one. But for the moment, if you go by the exit poll results, it's advantage BJP, the Congress lagging behind with 94. That is what the numbers say. And this was an election that was closely watched for its implications not just in the state of Karnataka but also at the centre. Karnataka has recorded 70% voter turnout across the state. It got 71% in the last assembly election. That was in 2013. And this was the second highest voter turnout ever recorded in the state of Karnataka. But if you talk about the city of Bengaluru, the IT capital of the country, it is known to not vote in such numbers. In fact, in the last 2 assembly elections, only half of the city's voters exercised their franchise. Last assembly election, the voter turnout in Bengaluru was 52.8, a little more than half. And this time, the city did worse, recording a turnout of 40%. Those are numbers until 5 p.m. What does the voter turnout imply? This year's turnout is similar to the last assembly election of 2013, which stood at 71%. This gives hope to the Siddaramaiah-held Congress government of retaining the state. Low voter turnout in Bengaluru indicates that there was no anti-incumbency in the state. That's what one set of analysts say. It also means that the BJP's campaign blitz may not have translated into votes. Of course, this was also a weekend, and there were rains last evening in Bengaluru. All of these factors may have contributed, but the fact is that the city of Bengaluru has not voted in as large numbers as the Election Commission predicted. And going by the number of seats, Bengaluru has a comparatively small role to play in the overall Karnataka election verdict, but it's the impact on the city that the world will be talking about once those numbers are out and the electoral permutations and combinations have been worked out. How will Bengaluru gain? And why is this election important for this city? Our next report tells you.
Toxic foam froths over and hits the streets. The lake becomes self-combustible. The lake makes news again and again and again. Once a city of over 250 lakes, Bengaluru now fights to save its over 1 dozen lakes that remain. A city without a perennial river to sustain it, and with urbanization eating away its water bodies, Bengaluru now waits for its water tankers as it stares at day zero. A day when it may run out of drinking water. Bengaluru has many watering holes though. A city of pubs, it also has a thriving band of moral policemen who raid pubs and restaurants and enforce language and cultural codes. Bengaluru hosts the best of India's scientific talent and the oldest scientific research centre. Once called the Garden City, it now also carries the tag of Garbage City. So what is Bengaluru all about, and why is the city and these elections here important? A mix of the old and new, Bengaluru is a microcosm of India. It's aspirational, yet also struggling to balance its present with the past. Even as space scientists plan India's next mission to the moon, city artists paint the craters on the roads to highlight the civic plight. It's a city of the good, bad and ugly. Take what you want. Bengaluru is India's fifth most populous city. The population rose from 3.4 to 10 million between 1985 and 2017. A report by the Brookings Institute had identified Bengaluru as the world's 87th most important metro. But the city has also been rated as one of the world's most dynamic cities. The world takes note when the city votes, as techies across the globe still fear getting Bangalored, or in other words, losing their job to their counterparts in this city. The state government invested heavily in developing the city's IT infrastructure in the 1990s. Today it houses nearly 35% of India's IT professionals. It's been ranked among the world's best cities for startups and is projected to become the world's largest IT cluster by 2020. Information technology already contributes $45 billion, or 38% of India's total IT exports. Bangalore has 66 Fortune 500 companies, 682 multinational corporations, and half of India's 260 biotech companies, including Biocon. But the city's infrastructure has barely improved. Nama Metro has finally rolled out, but navigating the roads is still a nightmare. Politically, Bengaluru has a small role to play in the overall election drama of the state. It has only 28 of the 224 seats in the state assembly, so beyond the caste calculations and the polarized debate, it's how the election verdict finally impacts this booming metropolis that the world will wait and watch. Bureau Report, WION.
When Kim Jong-un met with representatives from South Korea and Pyongyang, not many had believed that he's willing to give up nuclear weapons. But North Korea is trying hard to win over the skeptics in an unprecedented move. Pyongyang has now announced that it will dismantle its nuclear test site. A ceremony is being planned for sometime between May the 23rd and 25th. The announcement was made through the country's state media. North Korea says that the dismantlement of the nuclear site will involve destruction of all the tunnels. Entrances will be blocked and all observation, research and security facilities will be removed. And this move comes ahead of the summit meeting between the President of the United States and the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un. That's on the 12th of June. Singapore will play host to this historic meeting, and ahead of the summit, North Korea has taken some confidence-building measures that have made more people hopeful about the prospects of the Trump-Kim meeting. This includes the release of 3 American citizens last week. Ahead of the summit, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo met with his South Korean counterparts to discuss what will be on the agenda. Of course, denuclearization tops the list. He also said that sanctions against North Korea will remain in place until the U.S. and its allies see visible and meaningful action from Pyongyang.
Today, Foreign Minister Kang and I discussed the summit, my trip to North Korea, and the bold step President Trump is about to take when he meets with Chairman Kim. We would not be where we are today without the close and coordinated leadership of Presidents Trump and Moon. The United States and the Republic of Korea remain committed to achieving the permanent, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula.
And now to the big headline coming from Pakistan. Ousted Prime Minister of that country, Nawaz Sharif, has picked up another fight with the deep state. Facing defeat in the upcoming general election, Sharif now admits that terror organizations are active in his country. In an interview to a Pakistani newspaper, Dawn, Sharif raised questions over the delay in the completion of the 2611 trial. He was on the campaign trail in Multan when he gave this interview. Sharif has been disqualified to hold public office for life by the Supreme Court in the Panama Papers case. He also said that Pakistan has isolated itself. He termed the terrorists non-state actors, but he did not name the Mumbai attack mastermind Hafiz Saeed and Maulana Masood Azhar and their terrorist organizations Jamaat-ud-Dawa and Jaish-e-Mohammed. The Mumbai attacks-related trials are stalled in a Rawalpindi anti-terrorism court. US President Donald Trump had accused Pakistan of giving nothing to the US but lies and deceit and providing safe havens to terrorists. And for the first time since defeating the Islamic State, Iraq held its parliamentary elections today. 7,000 candidates were in the fray for a place in the 329-member assembly. Former Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki is among the main contenders for premiership, facing current Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi and Shiite militia leader Hadi al-Amiri.
والمواطنون في هذه العملية الديمقراطية هم اللي يقررون كيف يكون مستقبلهم. أنا أدعو كل المواطن للمشاركة في الانتخابات بصورة فاعلة حتى يكون فعلا مشاركة عراقية كبيرة ويكون مستقبلهم محدد بأيديهم وبأيدي الأقلية. دعوة إلى كل العراقيين، هاي انتخابات مهمة تحدد مستقبلنا القادم، أن يشاركون.
Nearly 30% of the more than 7,000 candidates in these elections are women. Remember, these elections are also being held for the first time since the Kurds held a controversial referendum to break free from Iraq. That was last year. The sectarian rift among Iraq's three main groups, the Shias, the Sunnis and the Kurds, is still apparent even 15 years after the end of Saddam Hussein's regime. The call for a separate Kurdistan has always dominated the public discourse in Iraq. But last year, Kurds made up their mind and they got down to business. The country's semi-autonomous Kurdish regional government spearheaded a referendum on the 25th of September. The Iraqi government rejected it as unconstitutional. What happened later was on expected lines. The Kurds unanimously voted for freedom. Iraqi forces had other plans. They launched a military operation to retake control of the territories that were under Kurdish regional government's control since 2014. A month later, the Iraqi forces captured Kirkuk. It is an independent Kurdish state with the biggest oil resources, and many say that this is what it's all about. Russia has huge investments there. But today's story, of course, is the Iraq election, the results of which will be coming by and by. The final day, meanwhile, of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's outreach in Nepal witnessed a mix of faith and development diplomacy, reiterating the close traditional and religious ties shared by the two nations. Prime Minister Modi offered prayers at some of the most iconic temples in Nepal. Here's a report.
Faith, they say, can move mountains. It is to move the Himalayan friend who has increasingly gravitated towards China in recent years that Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterated the strong ties shared between the two neighbors. After visiting the Janki temple on Friday, it was at the Muktinath temple that the Indian Prime Minister offered prayers on Saturday. In his flamboyant style, Prime Minister Modi also tried his hand at the traditional Nepalese drum. The visit, which emphasized much on symbolism, sought to find common ground in the shared religious and mythological past. Prime Minister Modi then interacted with the young monks at the temple and also took a walk along the balustrade. The high-profile visit has been dubbed as Modi's faith diplomacy. He has initiated the mythological Ramayana circuit and offered prayers at the Muktinath and Pashupatinath temple. But the message was not lost on anyone. Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, seen as a moderate communist, stood outside the temple as Modi offered prayers inside. The message, which needed no articulation, was that the political class may have tilted towards Beijing, but the religious and historical ties between India and Nepal were too strong to be ignored.
आपकी सफलता के लिए भारत हमेशा नेपाल के साथ कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर चलेगा। आपकी सफलता में ही भारत की सफलता है। नेपाल की खुशी में ही भारत की खुशी है।
In his third visit in the last 4 years to the landlocked nation, this has been Prime Minister Narendra Modi's most concerted push to improve bilateral relations. With Siddhant Sibal in Kathmandu, Bureau Report, WION.